Hi, and welcome to Photography Tuesday, a very special time of the week where I focus on one quick tip, you learn something useful, and then move on with your day. Let's dive in. Today we're exploring Aperture, one of the most creative tools in photography. This opening right here is what gives your photos the professional look that everybody loves. Aperture is measured in f-stops. Now let's talk about what Aperture actually does to your photos. There's an effect and obviously a counter effect. Look at this series of photos. At f1.8, see how only the flower is sharp while the whole background melts away. At f4, you can see the flower is starting to get in focus. f16, most of the whole subject is in focus. And the f22, everything is sharp from front to back. The counter effect is that once you close the diaphragm to get more of the photo in focus, you're actually reducing the amount of light hitting the sensor. It may look like a small number, but once you go from 1.4 to 2 or from 2 to 2.8, you're basically cutting in half the amount of light that hits your sensor. In low light situations, a wide aperture will allow you to shoot without having to stretch too much the other two sides of the exposure triangle, especially the ISO, which we will cover in a couple of weeks. In other words, a wide aperture will allow you to shoot without having to boost too much the sensitivity of the sensor, reducing the grain of the image, or having a blurred photo due to its low shutter speed. And the last thing about Aperture is that most lenses, they have a sweet spot. This is usually 2 to 3 stops from the widest aperture. For my 100mm macro, which is 2.8, usually around 4 to 5.6 is gonna be where it's sharp. That's why you don't always have to shoot on the widest aperture. Now, here are some examples on how to use Aperture on food photography. For a hero shot or just a photo of a single dish, something between 4 and 5.6 will do good, so you have focus from the front to the back of the dish. For a flat lay, photographing down to the floor, everything is kind of in the same plane, something between 3.2 and 4 will do the job. And for a photo where you have a stack of different dishes, something between 8 and f11 will get your sharp photo from front to back. Now for venue interiors, usually they're very dark, so we're talking about a tripod here. Between f8 and f11 we'll get the whole venue nice and sharp. But if you're just focusing on details, go between f1.8 and f2.8, get a blurry background, subject really pops. Next week we're focusing on shutter speed, from freezing motion to create beautiful blur. I'll see you then.